So one of the wonderful things about working on the web is that you find out that everything changes. Right? It's not like the Encyclopedia Britannica or even really Wikipedia, which in large places is stable. Per minute, there's 100 edits in Wikipedia, 200 tags in Delicious, 270 image uploads on Flickr. It's 388,000 per day. These numbers actually are probably old. 1.6 million blog entries a day. So if you have the semantic web, of course, is it going to be less dynamic than that? Probably not. The other thing is that people always come up with new ways to think about things. There isn't a right ontology. Right? Ontologies are all abstractions. One of the great buzzword phrases for this is ontologies are politics. I mean, if you look at all those news organizations, Al Jazeera, CNN, Slashdot, New York Times, and they're all, say, maybe reporting an event in Iraq, they're going to report it very differently. They're going to take the very same facts and put them in a different structure. So there really isn't a right ontology. And in fact, anytime that there's money to be made out there, there's also going to be spam material out there too. Right? This is why the meta tags aren't used in HTML anymore. So how do we use all this dynamism? Right? How do we do decision support in this kind of environment? Well, I'm going to close with my favorite EU project, sort of looking forward in the future. It's called the Large Knowledge Collider. Right? So this is an R&D project that's funded out of Europe. Obviously, the pun is over the Large Collider, which is started and now stopped again out in Geneva with CERN. Coincidentally, the birthplace of the web. But they're building the Large Knowledge Collider. And the goals of the Large Knowledge Collider, the LARC program, is scaling to infinity. Pretty cool stuff. Huh? It's basically a platform to do massive reasoning in an incomplete fashion. Because completeness is one of those things which causes you to take all kinds of time. You've got to check every case. But if you think of the web, we don't think about completeness on the web anymore, right? We just think about the top 10 hits in Google. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but we go forward on that basis. And this is kind of the insight which LARC had, is that maybe in exploitation systems around the semantic web, we can actually leverage this kind of incompleteness to get to answers which are useful. Maybe don't have these precise mathematical properties, but which are useful. Okay? So they're building these pipelines. There's actually already a version of it right now on Amazon at EC2 that you can go out and play with. It's incredible cool stuff. So to sort of think back on some earlier slides, talked about the semantic web and the sort of the database version and the web version. That is, if you think of semantic web, the semantic and the web. Right? So I think that things like the Large Knowledge Collider are really the first time that the semantic web has taken the web seriously. Right? Generations 1 and 2, the kind of use case I had, those are really about semantics. And generation 3 was about society and social KR. This is really about web scale KR. Right? This is about how do you deal with 6 trillion triples. And so, if you think about sort of going all the way back to now, what I think about now, where's money going to be made? Well, the cost of data creation now is going to 0. I don't think that there's a lot of money to be made in owning data at this point. I think the size of the data is going to web scale. Right? And so where the money's going to be made is in the processing. Right? It's in the exploitation framework, in the fusion frameworks. And if that's going to happen at web scale, you've got to use technologies like LARC. So if LARC is going to be successful, I think, right? If LARC is successful, then it's almost as big as PageRank. Because PageRank is this wonderful algorithm of a Google property which got better as it got bigger. And this is the kind of thing which you can see again. So summing up, right? In mid-2004, that was only 5 years ago, RDF and OWL had just been standardized. The way we made advances in this really small community was via traditional corporate R&D. There was a first wave of startups. Many of them have failed. It's the old saying, right? How do you recognize the pioneers? They're the ones with the arrows in their backs. There were a bunch of DoD implementations, actually, that we can be very, very proud of, but they were fully custom, not really generalizable, lived deep in the military and never got out. And there were a few early conferences. Semantic, as I said, began in 2005, with a few hundred people. Now in 2009, I think the semantic web is the most exciting thing that's happening on the web. RDF is in the billions at this point. Actually, if you go to the World Wide Web conference, I thought all the interesting stuff was on the semantic web. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of tweaky stuff about, video protocols and, somebody else tweaking HTML. But this is where I believe all the buzz was in the semantic web. And we used to have a saying at DARPA, right, that you know the program is a success when the program manager loses control. Right? And that's exactly what's happening here. There's almost no control out there, right? People are just doing it, taking it and rolling. The search majors, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, starting to develop products. I'm in the market for a new TV. Best Buy is publishing store descriptions in hours in RDFA right now. If that's not a revolution, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So I got that scaling feeling, right? The incentives are starting to fall into place. The cloud is looking like the early web cloud. The infrastructure to build a non-tools-based company is important. Tools-based companies rarely make a lot of money. The infrastructure to build a non-tools-based company is in place. And so that, my friends, I think is what the start of the revolution looks like.